Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. This is Let Me Bore Your Pain Away. And also only listen when you have permission from your doctor, because you do need to know the cause of the chronic pain before, I would advise, before listening to any recording. And this is also not a replacement for professional therapy or advice. I'm just a random English person talking. That's it. But at the same time, hopefully I got something useful to say. So this is not a sleep recording. This is not a hypnosis recording. This is not therapy. This is just me talking about, well, today I'm going to talk about sending healing to others. And I'm just going to discuss that and how doing that can be useful for you to give yourself more comfort. And it's kind of a weird concept, and I'm not coming from a spiritual perspective. I'm not coming from a religious perspective. Just coming from a scientific plus tried and tested perspective. You know, over the last probably hundreds of years, to be fair. Imagination has been used to help people to increase comfort and to change the way you feel, just by our thoughts, by your thoughts. Now, Vinny is in the background chomping on a bony thing, so you may hear him. Also, there's neighbours in the garden, so you might hear a little bit from that. Hopefully there shouldn't be too much background sound, but if there is, I'm just going to continue. Unless a helicopter lands in the garden or something like that. Oh dear. That'd be weird. But yeah, I don't think there's enough room in that little garden for a helicopter. No, I don't think so. I mean, Katy Perry might land in a spaceship. In that case, I will stop the recording, because I'll just assume she's come to take me out on a date. Oh, don't worry, Katie, you haven't got to change the suit. It's fine. We'll go out like this. It's fine. It's okay. Or you want me to change and have a bath? Okay, I can do that. You want me to have a bath and you want me to wash my hair and have a shave? Forget it, Katie. Just go away. No, you're too needy. You want too much from me. So, I'm going to start by talking about the science of imagination and pain relief. So, I try and do a little bit of research into the science. I've been making recordings to help people with chronic pain for 19 years now. So this is not a new thing for me. But I do think that sometimes factual stuff really can help us. It helps me, but I think it can help to almost open that door to allow the ideas to kind of circulate and percolate and be absorbed, and to, wrap your mind around some of the ideas that I'm going to be discussing. So I'm going to kind of start off with some facts, some scientific facts. So guided imagery, it basically involves visualizing calm or a healing scenario, and it can lead to significant pain reduction. I mean, it also can lead to deep relaxation, can lead to sleep, can lead to feeling more confident about something upcoming, like an exam or a job interview or driving test, those kinds of things. It can make you, by visualizing something, it can help you prepare for an event that's coming up. So maybe you're going on stage, it can prepare you for that so that you feel more positive about that. So yeah, it's like lots of different things. Studies, and I can try and read out some of the studies, but studies have shown that visualization, the technique, can improve mobility and reduce the need for pain medication in some conditions, such as arthritis. Now, I know someone, well, I don't know them really anymore, but I used to know them quite well, who actually had their leg amputated using hypnosis. Add a local anaesthetic. I mean, you can't not have a local anaesthetic, really. I think it'd be illegal to do it otherwise. But he didn't get put under general anaesthetic, and he used self-hypnosis throughout the whole process. There's no amount of money in the world you could offer me to do that. Even though I feel fairly kind of a little bit knowledgeable, I guess, about hypnosis, but I wouldn't want to be awake during that. But he chose to do that. Maybe it was a medical reason he didn't want to go under. Perhaps he just wanted to have a nice meal before the whole operation, because you can't do that with anaesthetic, with general anaesthetic, can you? Maybe he wanted to eat a burger during. I don't know if that's a thing. Mind you, he was a vegetarian, so it would have been tofu. Or was it tofu? Tofu. Mind you, if it was a tofu burger, I think I'd rather be knocked out. I'd rather go without any food than eat a tofu burger. Just, yeah, it's just personal preference. But yeah, it can be done. And also, I did some hypnosis, or I did some visualization, let's say. Because hypnosis, you could argue, is very much visualization with suggestions. And I had this lady back in 2006. She needed a double lung transplant. She asked me, she was a friend of a friend, so she asked my friend, can you ask him to come and see me? And I did. It was on a Saturday afternoon, about 4 o'clock. And she had an appointment to go into... Yeah, she had to go to the hospital Tuesday morning. The following Tuesday, or the next Tuesday, to have tests, medical tests, to ensure that she was able to have this transplant. If she was compatible, if she was physically able to go through it. But the problem is, she'd already turned up something like twice before and couldn't step inside the hospital because she had a phobia of hospitals, and this was just beyond, this is way bigger than that as well. And the doctors, or the specialists, said to her, if she didn't come into the hospital and have the tests on this Tuesday, she would be removed from this is what she told me, she would be removed from the transplant list. So she kind of had to go, or not have the transplant. Now, one of the weird parts of this is, firstly, I didn't know who she was. Never met her before. I got a taxi to her house. I went into her, went to her house. She was there, she was on oxygen, and there was zero rapport between us. Like, it's like she didn't like me instantly, which has happened before, surprisingly, but not usually that quickly. Blimey. She just really didn't seem like she even wanted me to be there, which I suppose in a way she possibly didn't. But back then, I never gave up. And I spent 2.5 hours with her. And in the end, she had to concede. I guess she had to just give in and go along with what I was trying to do, which was to relax her and to get her to feel comfortable and to rehearse going in there and feeling calm and all that stuff. And I did everything within my knowledge in those 2.5 hours. I came from every single angle, and eventually I broke through that wall that she had. Even so, I didn't feel particularly confident that I had. But at the end of it, she liked me. She seemed to like me. I mean, I don't know if she was just smiling because she liked me or because I was leaving her house. It might have been that. I'm getting rid of him if he's going. So I spoke to her on the day before she was going into hospital. Did I? I might not actually. No, she went to hospital. She contacted me when she got out. So she was in there for like a day and a half, I think, having tests. And I spoke to her on the phone. I've actually got a letter that I got her to do a testimonial for me, which says I should find these. They're in the storage somewhere. That it was easy. She went in there. She couldn't believe how easy it was to just go into the hospital. She was laughing with the nurses and laughing with the other patients. Zero stress, zero tension, no discomfort really. And it's quite weird because within, I think, a week and a half, she got the operation. It's one of those, it just went really quick. Happened very quickly. And I visited her in the hospital, in the transplant place. And she said that she was relaxed, she was calm throughout the whole thing. Yeah, she was nervous, and who wouldn't be? It's natural. I mean, you're about to have 2 organs replaced. You're going to be nervous, but she didn't have the anxiety that she'd had before. And she went into hospital, had it done. I visited her, I think probably a couple of days after she'd had the op, and she was up and about. I mean, she had to be careful, but she was able to move around. And I was going to do some bit of pain relief with her as well, which is quite difficult because the nurses kept coming in to the room and they weren't quiet. They were really loud. And it's quite hard in a hospital setting to ask people to be quiet, really, because also it's different people coming and going constantly. So it was just one person. It's like, can you just give us 20 minutes so we can just, talk? And so didn't get very far with that. But there's a couple of more examples as well of preparing. So I had another lady who was a friend of. She was the wife of a friend I had, who had to have a mastectomy and a reconstruction surgery as well, all at the same time. she was terrified of going into the hospital and worried about, the pain and all that stuff as well, which is, as I said, it's the most natural thing in the world, isn't it, to be worried about something like that. I think worried is an understatement, to be fair. So I went and visited her, and I spent probably a couple of hours with her. And she went and had the operation. I saw her probably 5 days before the op. She had the operation. She came out of it. She had minimal pain, hardly any distress or tension. And again, I kind of went from every angle with her, because back then, in 2006, 2007, in my kind of early days of seeing people and doing online stuff, I was not ferocious, that's not the right word, but I was very like a dog with a bone. I wasn't going to give up. And when I got someone in front of me, I want to get the job done. If someone comes for a phobia of a bridge, I've got to sort that out. And it's the most important thing in the world in that moment for me. Nothing else is more important than getting them where they want to be, which is being able to walk across a bridge completely relaxed. So I don't have that pressure now, because I'm online, so I don't, I'm not speaking directly to people. I know I'm speaking directly to you, but you're not in the same room as me, so that's the thing. If you're stuck in a room with me, I will keep going until it's done, and I will keep going on and on and on. And then I think sometimes it is, I know it's in a nice way. I wasn't like shouting, "You must relax," obviously, but it's by not giving up. I think that sets the tone, as well as, I think, in a sense of making these recordings, still doing this after 19 years. I've not quit, I've not given up. And I think if someone like me, who's making these recordings, will not quit, will not give up, keeps going regardless, then that can also be a little bit of a message to those people listening to keep going, never quit. Unless, of course, it's cigarettes, then please quit, because cigarettes aren't great, apparently. So she sent me a letter as well saying, "Thank you." This is a lady that had mastectomy, and she was calm and relaxed, pretty much felt comfortable after the op as well, and recovered much quicker than the doctors could understand. They couldn't believe she actually got released from the hospital a lot quicker than they would normally release people. I'm not saying it's because of me. I mean, I'd like to think it is, but it's because of her. It's because of her own mind, and because of how she had changed the way that she was thinking. So you change the way you think about something that's going to happen, or about how you feel, and you realise that actually you can feel relaxed. You can enjoy comfort and physical sensations. Is it weird having him crunching on a bone? Because he seems to be making. I haven't actually had a bone for him. They're not bones, but they're kind of these bony things. I haven't had any for 2 weeks, and I got him a pack yesterday. And I forgot how noisy they were. Obviously, he attributes the noise with his teeth. So they were surprised at how she was able to recover so quickly and be able to leave the hospital. And I actually got some long-term update, and yeah, she did really well. I recovered perfectly and still going strong. So this was nearly 20 years ago. The there was another person who... Was there another person? Operation... Oh, yeah. As again, I know I'm talking about quite serious stuff. I will move away from this, but this is just examples. It's partly to show off how great I am, but also just to let you know that how in quite extreme situations, and I think you can agree both of those are quite extreme. I mean, compared to, I've got arthritis in my lower back, which I can't compare that to someone having a double transplant of their lungs, you know, as far as the level of tension and stress and anxiety. But that's not to play down how I feel, because we all feel differently, and your feelings are legitimate and just as important as anybody else's. And the last person I'll talk about is this, who was it? All right. See, this was like a false offer. Do you ever offer someone something and you don't mean it? Should I explain what I mean? Have you ever, like, at a friend's house, or you're at work and there's someone you get on really well with, and you say, "Oh, what are you doing a weekend?" Or what are you doing there? So, "Oh, I'm just planning." "Oh, what are you planning for?" "Oh, I'm moving at the weekend." And you shout out, "Would you need a hand?" Empty offer. An empty offer. Didn't mean it. Why did I say it? Did not mean it. And a couple of times I've had someone say, "Yeah, okay, thanks." But I didn't mean it. I didn't want to waste my Saturday helping someone move. I mean, genuinely, it's not that I didn't care. I just didn't want to do it. So, yeah, it's those kinds of things. Or my dad does this. When we were at a dinner table and there's one Yorkshire pudding left, right? My dad will say, does anybody want that last Yorkshire pudding? It's an empty offer. He wants everybody to say no so that he can have it, because he wants it. That's why he's asking. I say, "Oh, yes, thanks, I'll have it," and I take it. I don't. I go to take it and I look at his face and I say, "Only kidding," because I know he wants it. Why doesn't he just grab it and, oops, I'm knocking stuff over. So it's like an empty offer. It's nothing bad in it. It's just like he's not really wanting anyone else to take the Yorkshire pudding. Although we did have there was once when we locked horns, I really wanted the Yorkshire pudding, so did he. So we had half each. I don't think he's ever forgiven me for that. I'm sure I overheard him in the kitchen with my stepmum saying, "We've got to write him out of the will now." So I'm thinking, wow, that was an expensive half a Yorkshire pudding. That £300 I was going to get in a will. Whoa. So, this friend, this is an empty offer that I offered. Someone I was at college with, who I got on pretty well with. This was, again, blimey. I was at college with her 2003. So this was in 2006. She asked, and it's beginning, probably about April, May time, 2006, round about this time, so 19 years ago. She, through another friend, because I hadn't really seen her for ages, through another friend who contacted me and says, do you want to come to, what's her name? She's getting married. I said, what? She's getting married. And you're invited to come to the stag night. No, it wasn't to invite to go. What she wanted was me, because we did meet up sporadically, for lunch and stuff, all the people that were in it was a massage course. And she wanted me to stand there as a doorman for the hen night. Did I say stag night? For the hen night. And I was going to stand there on the door and tell people, have a door list, and all the women that came in, I'd have to tick them off and everything, like on the door list. And I thought, yeah, why not? It turned out, I didn't know this, but it's really quite a sad story, but it was very sad. Her husband-to-be was terminal, and he was getting married. They were getting married to, I think they both always wanted to get married and had been together a long time. So they got married. So this was the hen night. So I went along to that and I did that, and then they invited me in. Hen nights are brilliant. I mean, I've been to hen nights as in a nightclub when I was there, but I'd never actually been invited to a hen night. A room, just, yeah, it was great. A lot of fun. I went to the wedding, but just the reception bit. Again, she didn't like me enough to invite me to the actual wedding, which is fine. I'm not bitter. In fact, I'm still mentioning it 19 years later. So I went to the reception bit at the end, in the evening in the pub. I met him for the first time. And because the person I was going with, she was my friend as well, we went there. She had a present for him, or for them. And I thought, I ain't got no money. I don't know what to get. I'll get a card. And then I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll make some little vouchers, just a few pieces of paper, offering 5, like a voucher offering 5 free hypnosis sessions. Okay? Empty offer. It really was. I didn't expect. I just thought, it saved me spending any money. And, you know, it's done. It's a gift. So that's what I did. And I was never charging anyone anyway, so it's not really... It's not like anyone I did see, I didn't charge. It was all free when I was doing a chronic pain relief service and doing the rehab relaxation groups and stuff like that. So I gave this gift to them both in a card. They didn't even see it. They didn't open it in front of me. They must have opened it when they got home. And I thought, that's all right. Got away with that. Didn't save me 10, 20 quid or whatever. I don't think I was quite that. I wasn't quite that tight, but it was, money was a little bit tight at that time. Even though I was working, I didn't know what to get. What do you get someone you don't know very well? Yeah. So I left it at that. I get a phone call while I'm at work from my friend, the one that I speak to regularly, not the one who's married to the man. She says, he wants to see you. I said, who wants to see me? She said, whatever his name was. I said, who's that? She said, what's the name's husband? Oh, okay. What do you mean he wants to see me? She said, he's in a hospital. He has to have a medical procedure, which he's had before, which was really horrible, and he won't have it done unless you turn up, unless you come along and talk to him. See, this was weird, because I don't know why. I didn't know him. I shook his hand at his wedding reception. I never met him before. I hadn't seen her for a couple of years, probably, or a year and a half, other than at the hen night. And he seems to have this faith in me that I'm going to be able to help. I'm basically a stranger. And nobody that he knew would know if I was any... Okay, maybe my friend knew that I was okay at what I did. But his wife didn't. Anyway. So I don't know if I was... Or was it 2007? It might have been early 2007, actually. No, I'm pretty sure it was 2006. Well, I went there after work. I think it was when I was doing a Friday, finishing at 2 o'clock on the shift. So I went there. Some of these details might be completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. Unless you like things to be correct, then it does matter, I suppose. But then you're never going to know, are you? I mean, I can't prove what time, what day it was that I went there. I really don't know. So I went to the hospital, went to the cancer ward, and I met my friend first, the one that was... Did I? No, I didn't. No, she wasn't with me. I went up to the thing. I didn't know where I was looking. Luckily, the person I was at college with was there. So she waved and I went over. And he was behind the curtain, so I sort of went, pulled the curtain over. So, you all right? I said, yeah. He said, obviously I'm not, am I? I said, okay, fair enough. So what would you ask me if I'm all right? I'm in hospital. I said, all right. But I'm not charging you, am I? He said, sorry. So we had a little kiss. And then I basically didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't know. But what I did have in a huge amount in me was the wish to help other people. I wanted to help him as much as I've ever wanted to help anyone in my life. I couldn't have wanted to help him more than if I'd see like a puppy fall into a river. It's that kind of, not quite that extreme level, but it really did feel like a life or death situation, although it wasn't. But to me, it felt like that. So they asked the nurses to leave us alone for half an hour. That his wife said, well, I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee, or I'm going to stand out at reception, make sure no one disturbs you, pull the curtains around. Now, it was super noisy in there. I mean, the only way to make it noisier is if a brass band walked through. Seriously. Or a jet pilot went past honking its horn like the Dukes of Hazzard. It was very noisy. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how it is. Very noisy environment. But it didn't seem to matter, because he was about to have this procedure. He refused to have it done until I'd spent some time talking to him. So I spent half an hour focusing on relaxing him and preparing him for the procedure. He knew what the procedure was. I didn't need to know about it. He knew what it was because he'd had it done before. So he knew exactly what was going to be done. But in his imagination, it went well. In his imagination, he felt relaxed. And for me, however weird this is, I was sending, from my perspective, I was sending relaxation to him. I was imagining that I was sending him healing, and I was sending him comfort. And if I'm honest, that is what I've always done. When I was face to face with someone doing chronic pain relief or whatever the hypnosis thing would be, when they had their eyes closed, I would imagine sending the feeling that they want to them. And what that does, regardless of whether or not it helped them, it helped me. And that's something that I kind of noted in my head, because although it did make sense from a meditative state, from a meditation angle, I still thought, there's something in this. But I wasn't doing it so that I could feel more relaxed. I genuinely wanted him or whoever I was with to feel more comfort in that part of your body that needs to have more comfort. And at the end of it, he felt really relaxed. He was absolutely zero discomfort. Bearing in mind, he had a really serious condition, and it's maybe the first time he had zero discomfort for a while. I left him alone. He went and had his procedure, and I spoke to him probably the next day to see how he was, and I'd already received note that it gone really well, and it was completely different this time, because he expected it to go well. He expected to feel comfort and confident. You expect to feel relaxed, and it was that kind of, because it has an effect when you, obviously doesn't it, when you expect calmness and comfort, it's gonna have that positive reaction for you. I mean, it's just standard. It's not even scientific, really. It's just obvious, isn't it? It's as obvious as gravity. So, mind you, I do sometimes wonder, Daddy Longlegs, how has nature created Daddy Longlegs? One of the most poisonous insects, but can't bite, has no way of releasing the poison, cannot fly in a straight line, even if it was offered £1 million. It's, yeah, phenomenal. I love Daddy Longlegs. I like them a lot. I used to eat them when I was a kid, so I'm not proud of that. You know, but I was like 3 years old, so... Okay, I was 45, but, you know, it doesn't matter. When you got out of hospital, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't, all they could do was treat it. There was nothing else that they could do. So, you know, I don't want to get all heavy and talk about that, but I did visit him at home and do some pain relief with him, and that also helped. And it seemed something a bit strange that not strange, but because he'd already spent time listening to me, he felt more relaxed just me being there, just hearing my voice. And that's another thing that I kind of ticked, like that I just kind of remembered in my mind for future with the audios, because I was making videos and audios back then, but I was quite early into doing that. I was focusing more on real life people, sort of, yeah. I mean, the first recordings that I think the first recordings I uploaded to the internet were actual live recordings that I'd done with the drug rehab and the alcohol charity groups, the relaxation groups I did. So I would record them on a little dictation thing and then upload it to my website, or upload it to, I think, MySpace, and then, you know, wherever else I could find. That's before I started doing videos. So we got the level of comfort up, the distress way down, so we felt comfortable again. And then he had, the thing is, it would have been better to have both of them sitting there, because her stress levels were a level, I mean, you know, for good reason. She also needed to relax deeply, and so he was kind of quite jovial and calm, but she wasn't. Again, this is not a judgment. I mean, this is, you know, who would be calm in that situation? But it was just nice. It felt nice to know that actually imagination, because even if it's me talking, you're the one doing the imagining. You know, if I say, for example, visualize a gentle, warm beam of light moving to the part of your body that you would like to have more comfort. Visualize that gentle, warm beam of light, maybe traveling from the heart of someone that you love deeply, maybe someone that you used to love deeply, maybe someone's not around anymore, but imagine that beam of light shining down from heaven into your part of your body. It has an effect. Changes how you feel. So I'm the one saying it, but you're the one imagining it. So there's certain things, mental imagery affects the brain activity. So when you imagine, it is something that's done with things like skiing and golf, practicing in your mind, in your remind, in your mind, imagining it, or practicing taking basketball shots, things like that. Actually, or rifling, do like Olympic Games things, where you target practice, or bow and arrow things. Mental rehearsing can be just as effective as physical rehearsals. You do need both, but someone that mentally rehearses as opposed to someone that just physically rehearses has an edge. It affects the muscles, it affects the movement, it affects how we feel, and it changes expectation. Because, as we all know, if we really expect things to go well, generally they do. There's a good example of this. There's two really good examples of, and they've done this in research. It's an old thing, but two tests. So if you have someone on a tightrope, walking on a tightrope, that knows how to do it but isn't particularly good, but it's not a long tightrope. Or actually no, let's say a plank of wood. Forget the tightrope. So just a plank of wood, it's on the floor. They'll walk along it easy. They'll walk 6 foot, maybe 10 foot plank of wood, they'll walk on it. Put it 6 foot in the air. Or put it 3 foot in the air. Well, even if they fall off, they're not going to hurt themselves. Or 2 foot in the air. Changes how they feel about it. So, if they imagine to themselves everything's fine, even the one on the floor, if they imagine, let's say it's a 12, 15 foot, and they say to themselves, I'm going to do this easy, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy, I'm going to do this easily, and do this easily, and they will. But some people, if you get them to say, I'm going to fall off, 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 and get them to rehearse that before they do it, and then get them to say that either out loud or to themselves, then chances are they will actually fall off, even when it's on the floor. Another one would be if you put a bunch of plates or maybe glasses with wine in on a tray, or water on a tray, and you're walking through a busy restaurant. You can walk into the other side of the restaurant. Now, if you're saying to yourself, or you expect everything to be fine, it's going to be fine. But if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to drop it, 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 then the chance of you dropping it is quite high. So we affect ourselves by what we think. If before that all I did was focus, I'm going to drop it, I'm going to drop it, for like half an hour before they actually got there. It's again, this is so obvious, isn't it? But mental practice can enhance motor processes, control, and also mental imagery can reduce physical discomfort as well. And it can affect the healing processes that can activate the same brain regions as the actual experience. So you're actually activating the same parts of your brain as you would if you were physically doing that thing, which is kind of amazing, really. It's almost like the brain doesn't know the difference between doing it and thinking about it, which then really brings to just really focuses you on the idea of what do you say to yourself, what do you feel about yourself, what do you expect, because that has an effect. How you feel about yourself affects how you feel, how you are, how you behave. In the same ways, what we think about someone else. You know, I don't know about you, but there's been times when I've gone into a situation and I've expected that person to be rude and really rehearsed that in my mind. There's no benefit to doing that, but it's just stuff that I've done in the past, not on purpose, just it was just going on and on. I didn't necessarily know how to stop it at the time. And I'd go into that scenario and I would dislike that person and I would feel that they disliked me. But actually, they probably didn't, or maybe they did. Maybe my attitude was not nice because I had, as Zig Ziglar would say, I had stinking thinking. There's another thing called mirror therapy, where patients view a reflection of their unaffected limb and can trick the brain into perceiving movement in the affected limb, thereby reducing physical discomfort. So if you've got a mirror, let's say someone's got a problem with their left hand, and that's the problematic hand, for example, put a mirror, the right hand, it's, you know, it looks like your left hand is there. And you can focus on your left hand and just looking at that image, looking at that mirror image, just imagine just feeling calm, relaxed. And someone could actually stand there, be next to you, and just tap that hand, that right hand, and you can feel that it feels fine. And that's not how the left hand would feel normally. It changes the way your left hand feels. It's also been done with people who have lost a limb in a way to relax. So that someone has maybe got phantom, they call it phantom, but you know, got problems, still got discomfort in, let's say, a hand that's not there anymore. So they can use that mirroring technique. So what they do is they're looking at an image and they really relax that hand that they're looking at in the mirror, which in turn reduces that physical discomfort that they were having before. So it's a brain thing. It's actually, it feels real because the brain, on a level, of course, knows it's a mirror, but in another way doesn't. That's quite interesting, I think. You got neurofeedback. So using, I mean, I don't have, I wish I did have access to this stuff. It would be so much fun. But you can use real-time brain imaging to learn to control the physical sensations and to activate those related brain regions, which can lead to significant reductions in that, discomfort you had before. And, I think also you've got things like biofeedback machines. I'd love to get one of those skull cap things, that they put on with all those wires, and you can just see which parts of the brain are being activated. I'm pretty sure the more time you spend with one of those hats on, I won't call them hats, but I don't know what the correct term is, looking at that image, the more you can start activating different parts. Because now they've got limbs, like mechanical, robotic limbs that can be activated by the brain, by the person's brain. Like they can imagine the hand and the right finger moving, and it moves, which is phenomenal. I mean, it is. I know the Bionic Man had this 50 years ago, but he had $6 million to play with, didn't he? But this is just phenomenal stuff. And there's technology now where someone that's maybe a quadriplegic can use a computer with their mind and can, play a game or type stuff out, talk, type stuff to talk out of the screen. It's like phenomenal, amazing. So this is only going to improve and get better. I don't know why I said improve and get better, because it's the same thing, isn't it? So I'm just looking at the practical sides of this. This is much more sensible than yesterday's recording. Oh, I'm so pleased, because, I went in a weird... I mean, they're not supposed to be super serious, but sometimes I go off on a tangent. So some practical techniques you can explore when it comes to imagining for ourselves, because this is really about imagining sending healing to someone else. But it's kind of, first of all, it's exploring the power of your mind from a scientific perspective, not from a wah-wah or from a spiritual perspective that not everybody would potentially agree with. But when it comes to science, when it comes to, shall we say, fact, something that's been studied for decades and decades and decades, you can pretty much have a bit of faith in that. Something that you can research yourself. I think it's quite nice sometimes to say, okay, well, I want to find out what's guided imagery. What's this bloke talking about guided imagery? Is it a real thing? And you can see, you can Google it or whatever, and it is. What's this mental imagery and brain activity? You can search it. Neurofeedback, you can search it. It's all, it's all on the internet. There's books written about it. There's lectures on YouTube. There are inventions being created probably every day based on this technology that's continually growing. So if you were going to do something for yourself, and we mentioned like a healing visualization, I was talking about that beam coming down and going into that part of your body that you would like to have more comfort. So that's something you could do, or imagine healing moving into that part of your body. You can imagine healing moving into the top of your head. This is something that I quite like to do. And for some reason it's yellow, but it's liquid. Almost like sunshine. And imagine it pouring into the top of my head and just moving through my body all the way down to my toes, and just gradually filling my entire body You know, fingers, hands, feet, legs, knees, thighs, bum, groin, lower back, upper back, stomach, chest, arms, shoulders, neck, throat, my jaw, my ears, my nose, my eyes, my face, my scalp, and then I imagine it overflowing, a little bit like a volcano, but less hot, you know, healing, and then overflowing, so it's covered, it's filled inside my body, and now it's overflowing to cover your skin, so now it's covering the outside of your body with this healing liquid energy. So that's something I do because it feels quite nice, I think. You got positive imagery that you can do, encourage, you can envision, you can think about a place where you feel safe and comfortable. And I suppose it's not everybody's into visualization. I'm not great myself at visualization. I'm pretty good when I'm asleep. I'm good at a lot of things when I'm asleep, especially sleeping. But you've got, the idea is you use as many senses as you can. So if it was, for example, laying next to a lake, maybe it's a place from the past that you loved, that you used to lie down and feel so relaxed. So you can perhaps smell the air, smell the trees, the flowers, hear the lake gently tinkling by, or whatever they do, sprinkling. Maybe hear a cow in the field going moo. I don't know, whatever sounds that you would hear. Maybe another cow going because it couldn't hear what the other one was saying because I'm talking too much and they can't hear over me. But whatever it could be, you can imagine how it feels to have the ground supporting your body. Or maybe you're in a hammock or sitting in a chair in a like a beach bed thing, whatever it is that feels comfortable. And then maybe you can also have like a taste. Maybe you can, because sometimes if you're on the beach, for example, you can maybe taste the salty air of the sea. And then you've got the feeling, not just the feeling of being supported by the chair or the ground, but maybe the feeling of a breeze on your face, or on your hands, on your body. So, it's kind of, that's just an example. It could be anything. And it can be a way to let go and to feel comfort, because the good thing about it is you're kind of outside, because you're imagining it, you start to feel it in your own body. And that comfort you're imagining, it's like your mind doesn't know the difference, or your brain doesn't know the difference, and you just feel relaxed. You got positive imagery, so you got mirror visualization. So I already kind of talked about that. But you could do it in a different way. You could actually imagine a mirror. I've done these kind of recordings before, where you imagine yourself looking in the mirror and see yourself feeling really relaxed, really peaceful. And just notice how that feels as you look at yourself, feeling really relaxed and really peaceful. I mean, I've done like magic mirrors in the past where I'd ask you to step into that feeling, experience again. So maybe it's a feeling from the past when you felt so relaxed and calm, and you step in there and absorb and re-experience that feeling of calmness, looseness. And then you can step out again, but you can leave that old feeling that was there before. You can leave that in the mirror and step out. Just bring in the good feelings, just keeping the sense of comfort. So there's lots of different things you can do. So these are things you can do for yourself. Now, this session really is about sending healing to others. And I think there's different ways to look at this. I'm going to look at both the positive and the negatives of the way we think towards other people, because both are valid, and the negative explains the positive in a way. Does that make sense? So our thoughts towards other people amplifies our own pain. Now, anyone can argue this, but this is fact. No one can really argue. And I know there's some people that I'm never going to forgive the person. Why would I forgive someone for what they did? But the point of forgiveness is not to let them off. It's to help you. It's to let yourself off. It's not to release them, it's to release you. And I don't know if that's always explained, like we need to forgive other people, let's forgive. And it can be a bit like, just go away. Of course I'm not. It's almost as if they're being asked, well, by forgiving that person, I'm going to say that it's okay what they did. And it's never okay. And it isn't that. Forgiving someone's not saying it's okay. Forgiving someone is not letting them off. It's not releasing them, it's releasing you. It's healing you. So that's an example of where I'm going with this. I'm not going to focus much on the negative, but the fact is, if we're angry towards someone, how does that feel for us? Because when we think about someone and we're angry towards them, we're basically sending angry, negative energy to them in our minds. And all it does is bounce off of them, comes back to us, increased. It increases. And there's an old Buddhist, or it might be Zen or Buddhist term, saying being angry with someone is like someone chucking hot coals at you and you catching them in your hand. That's what anger's like. You're worse off than they were. You're angry. They got rid of the hot coal. You're still holding it, and it's burning a hole in your hand. So someone chucks a hot coal at you, move out of the way. That's their stuff, isn't it? That's their anger, and you can let them keep it. There's another thing that is probably worth looking at, thinking about, and I spent a lot of time around people that were unwell. And something I've noticed, talking is important. Talking is really important. Having someone to talk to discuss things with, someone to be kind to you and to show consideration and love, someone to show caring. But there's also a level of, there comes a time when you look at the situation, how much time are you spending, or how much time is that person spending focusing on the negative, wanting to tell everyone about it, And I don't know if you notice some people, and again, it's not a criticism really because they don't know what they're doing, but they talk in a way of they're explaining how they feel, and they're explaining in graphic detail how awful they feel. And while they're saying it, they're saying, and you feel this, and then you feel this there, and then you feel that there, and then this happens, and then you feel like this. They're using that word, you feel like this, as they're explaining how they feel. And that's fine if I'm telling you about something really positive. If I want you to feel really relaxed and to feel really calm, I can tell you about something that happened where I felt really calm and relaxed and peaceful, and I can talk to you about how it felt, because I was lying on this. It's something happened actually. It was during quite a weird period. I was kicked out of where I was living. Well, I had to find somewhere new to live. It was student accommodation, so to be fair, I had finished college 17 years earlier, but it was getting a little bit too much. And I sat down on this chair that reclined a little bit. This was in the counselling office that I used to work. And every muscle in my body relaxed. So if I'd explain this to you for you to have this feeling, I'll go through it was like your shoulders relaxed, your hands relaxed, it's like explaining to you how to do it. But when someone's ill, you don't want them to explain to you how to be that way. Or when someone's going through physical discomfort, we don't want to hear how to do it, even though they're not really trying to tell people how to do it. So it might be useful just to notice. I try and notice if I ever do that, which I'm sure I do. And I try and change it. In the same way, even just by talking about how it felt for me, it still can have an effect on you or the listener. If I'm talking about how just relaxing my back, my shoulders, my hands felt heavy, but almost light at the same time. And it kind of was just weird how when my hands felt relaxed and heavy, my feet seemed to copy. And then for some reason I noticed my eyes, and my eyes, for some reason, when my eyes are relaxed, my jaw becomes relaxed. And when I raise my eyebrows with my eyes closed and look up, there's a certain feeling I get, almost like being in a bubble of safety, where no physical feeling touches me. It's just comfort. It's almost like being in some kind of imaginary safe womb. Completely safe, everything I need, peaceful, don't have to do anything, don't have to say anything, don't have to think about anything. It's a really peaceful place. I feel I just heard the biggest yawn in the world from downstairs. Maybe she's listening to me. Maybe I'm talking too loudly. I've sent her to sleep. So these are things, by thinking angrily or thinking negatively towards someone, has an effect on us. So if that's the case, then obviously thinking positively has the opposite effect. According to this, I found a 2001 study in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine showed that people who practice forgiveness had lower blood pressure, heart rate, and reported less pain than those who were held on to resentment. Now again, I mean, I'm probably because I'm so old, I've met a lot of people full of resentment, it seems. They're not happy. And the resentment doesn't give them anything. There's no upside to it. There's no benefit to it. Pride, maybe. I will not forgive. Yeah, but the forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. It really isn't for them. It's for you. And negativity, it traps us. We keep ourselves, if you're focusing on replaying arguments, wishing them harm, blaming them, all that stuff, we keep ourselves locked into that feeling. Flip it the other side, sending people kindness, wishing people well, sending healing. It frees us, but if it was to lock us into anything or lock us into a feeling, what would that feeling be? Positivity, feeling kindness, healing. It is quite weird though, you think about it. It's to be able to still be angry about something that happened such a long time ago, holding us back. What's the point in that? You know, it increases, it makes everything worse. So that's why I'm focusing on the opposite of that. But I thought I'd just mention the negative side, just so we can kind of get more of a grip on the positive side. Because even though it's obvious, I think it's sometimes useful to say. So you can imagine sending healing to somebody. Doesn't matter if they need it. I would argue that everybody could do with some healing. There's no one in the world that would like turn down a bit of healing, a bit of love, a bit of kindness, whether they know it or not. I think everybody could use that from all around the world. And you can send healing in your mind to anybody. It can be someone that you know, it could be someone that you love deeply, it could be someone that you don't know at all, it could be someone that, you know, a complete stranger. It doesn't really matter. So there's different ways you can send the healing. You just imagine it. You can take a breath in, filling yourself with calmness and relaxation. As you exhale, imagine sending that calm breath towards the other person that you're imagining. So each inhale, every time you breathe in, it can recharge you with more of that sense of peace, more of that sense of calmness, more of that sense of healing. And every time you breathe out, you send it out again. And you can keep doing that for as long as you want. You could technically, I suppose, do it all the time. But then not choose a particular person, just let that healing with every exhale just spread to anyone and everyone, whoever needs it. You can do this thing as well where you can loosen your own body with each breath. So when you breathe in the healing, it moves into your body. Because in the same way, ironically, the same way that when you send out anger to someone, you get it back. And it's stronger. The anger is stronger. The same as with the healing. You send out love, healing, respect, kindness, comfort, relaxation, peacefulness. You send that energy out, it doesn't bounce off the person, they absorb it, but it also comes back to you. And it turns into this continuous back and forth of healing and comfort. And the more you send, the more you get back. Because it just grows. Just the way that anger can grow, resentment can grow, healing can grow, peacefulness grows. Peacefulness, just serenity, whatever words you want to use, really. It's something I used to like to do. I don't know if you can hear the screeching in the garden, bless them. I'm going to send peace and love. It worked, they've gone away. So I used to do this on a bus, where I would imagine that, sprinklers, like if there was a fire or whatever, or if you put a little light and there was a sprinkler, it would just set it off of the whole bus maybe. I used to imagine that sprinkler would be sprinkling, but an invisible sprinklers of healing would spray over everybody on the bus and completely just cover them with healing, with peace, with relaxation. And it was weird because people seemed to go quiet when I did it. I'm not saying it's any reason. It might be more to do with the fact that I just farted and no one else wanted to be blamed for it. I don't know. But it felt good to me. I'm not just letting the gas out, but imagining that the healing was spreading. Yeah, the bus driver went around and opened all the windows. You could also picture writing a letter, a card, or a card in your mind, full of kind, healing words. Now, I'd done this years ago. I was really going through a difficult time, and I wrote a letter to the person, not just tell them how I felt, but also kindness as well. It helped, really helped. But imagine sending a letter or card in your mind full of kind, healing words to someone that could be anyone, doesn't matter who it is. But you seal it in an imaginary envelope and you mail it through the air to them. You don't have to know the exact words, it can just be a feeling. You just put a feeling in that envelope, sending the feeling of comfort, just trusting it. But as you send it off, you can feel a lightness in your body. There's so many different things. You can hold them in a healing bubble, which is kind of like, when we were looking up with your eyebrows risen, and you could look up into that like healing bubble. Maybe join them. Maybe have them join you. Peacefulness, or maybe just imagine they're in their own healing bubble. Just giving them some space to calm, feel relaxed. Also remember that we're all sharing the same oxygen, the same breath. We're really sharing the same air. And we are all connected by energy. So we can choose whether it's positive energy or otherwise. I'd go for the positive, makes more sense. And the more kindness, the more relaxation, the more healing you send out, the better that you feel. There's little tiny little things you can do. Just smiling gently when you're thinking of a person. Even if it's just in your own mind, just thinking kindly towards someone can help you feel better. Sometimes whispering kind words, just like things like comfort or feeling relaxed. Because that goes both ways. It can go to them, it can go to you. Just whispering those words. And you don't have to believe anything mystical. Just allowing your mind to care can activate deep biological shifts. Really can affect you in a really big way. Positive. And sending healing, it's not about fixing the person, it's not about anything like that. It's just simply offering space for positivity and renewal for them and for you, knowing that that will come back, but not doing it for that reason. Giving, not wanting anything in return, giving, but the fact is it does come back. And also kind imagination. It changes body chemistry, leading to lower physical perception. So you feel better. It improves your immune responses and better, overall well-being. So positive. I mean, you could say, well, this is just about positive thinking, but it's much, much more than that. Much, much more than that. And it's not about pretending. You're not trying to force yourself to love everyone. You don't have to like them or forgive everything they've done. It's about choosing what you carry inside you. And when you send healing, you're not letting them off the hook, like I said earlier. You're unhooking yourself from the suffering. So ultimately, sending healing isn't just a gift to them, it's a gift you give to yourself. A softer body, a calmer mind, and a heart free enough to finally maybe just hurt a little less, feel more calm, feel more relaxed, allow your body to also improve. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.